If you can recall, we recently covered a story about a group of people who refer to themselves as Defend Europe. They are essentially people who would like to stop rescue efforts in the middle of the sea, where they try to save refugees who might potentially drown and die as they're trying to flee their war-torn countries. Now, Defend Europe is unhappy about European countries accepting refugees from Africa or from Middle Eastern countries, and so they want to kind of get in the way of some of these NGOs that are trying to rescue refugees at sea. Now, volunteers, though, for the German, hold on, before I get to that graphic. So recently, Defend Europe was in the middle of the Mediterranean, and they realized that they can't actually stop these NGOs from saving refugees, but they want to at least yell at them through, yeah, and kind of monitor what's going on. So as they were in the middle of this, they were stranded. They had a mechanical issue, and they needed help. And guess what? The only people around to help them were those who were saving the refugees, okay? So it was a refugee ship. Now, volunteers for the German vessel, who Defend Europe has accused of human trafficking, said that they had been contacted by Italian officials to assist the right-wing group's Sea Star ship because it was unable to maneuver due to a mechanical failure. Now, one of the chairman on the ship that needed to save those who were on the Defend Europe ship said, to help a ship in distress is the duty of anyone at sea without regard for their origin, race, religion, or beliefs. That's what Michael Bauschauer said. And that is an awesome quote. And they did. They went out of their way to make sure that they helped those who were stranded. Now, CI took on a course toward the Sea Star and got in contact with the right-wing extremists, but initially they refused help, but later they didn't refuse help because they were stranded at sea.
Well, right-wing extremists who are incompetent. I didn't see that coming. Look, these guys are too nice. The guys who are helping the refugees are, of course, there's a whole host of progressives and liberals in the world that are way nicer than I am. If I was on that ship that's normally helping refugees that these guys normally troll, I'd be like, no, that's cool. We're definitely going to help you guys.
Not buying it. Okay. Oh yeah, you would help them. Yes,
no, hold on.
100%.
No, I'm definitely going to help you guys. But first, I'm going to need you to put out a statement saying we're adrift at sea and we need help from refugees. Okay, and I'm going to need you to say we're sorry. Apparently, we didn't know what we were doing. I need some sort of statement like that, and then you're welcome. Come on aboard. Of course, that's what we do. We help people. Yeah. But until then, anyway, and they'll be like, "Oh, no way, no, not going to do it." And then a couple hours later, like, "Oh, I'm kind of hungry, dude."
You would, yeah. I want them to say, actually, guess what? If we're out here for a little bit longer, we're refugees, right?
Yes.
We're stranded out here, and what does it feel like to be out here and away from your country of origin? And maybe you didn't have a choice to be stranded, so.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, look, if I ran progressive things would be a little bit tougher and for the better and worse. But I'd surround them with ships and be like, no, guys, the minute you apologize about how wrong your ideology was, because apparently sometimes people need help, right? Then we'll rescue you. But if you say people don't need help, you know what'll happen eventually? Eventually they'll be like, but you guys don't understand, our life is in danger. Exactly, idiots. You know, 2,400 men, women, and children have died this year alone in those seas. Yeah. That's why those ships are out there trying to rescue people so they don't die. They're doing, if you're a Christian, they're doing God's work, right? They're doing amazing work, and they're Europeans with great big hearts who are just making sure that people don't die. And these guys are out there, first they were trying to prevent them. And then they ran into a lot of legal trouble.
Yes.
I mean, think about how vicious and mean you have to be to say, I want to stop you from rescuing people who might be dying at sea. But since they couldn't do it legally, now not only do they go and just shout at them in the middle of the sea. I mean, what children?
Yeah.
But they also go on the radio and they troll the radio. They're like, oh yeah, and then they try to interrupt their communicating with one another.
So by the way, they've crowdfunded for this. So they've basically taken donations from people so they can go out to sea and yell at individuals who might even be risking their own lives to save stranded refugees, right? The right-wing activists have spent most of their time at sea shouting through their megaphones at humanitarian ships and trolling other crews over radio. Seems really productive. Look, the thing is, I get it. Like if there is, this influx of people coming into your country and you don't understand why, and you see like the demographic changing, like I get it. Like some people might be alarmed by that. And so it's okay to have a conversation. It's okay to raise your concerns. But unfortunately, legitimate concerns get muddled by like the loudest people, the squeaky wheels, who make ridiculous claims against refugees, that they're rapists and they're terrorists and they're this and they're. A lot of them are literally leaving their own country, the only place they've ever known, for their own safety because they're worried about getting murdered.
So we'd be on the other side of you on that debate if we were having that debate. And now, especially in America, because America is not based on any particular ethnicity. And the whole point is that the whole world is welcome here. And read the poem on the Statue of Liberty. And I think that if you're a decent person, you would be open and welcoming to people who are going through this process. But even if you aren't, to Anna's point, you've at least got to be decent enough to say, think about what these people went through. They know they're risking not only their lives, their kids' lives. If you're a parent, think about that for a second, right? How bad does your situation have to be in your home for you to risk your kids' lives out in the ocean to try to go somewhere else? And these guys have gone out of their way to try to block that from happening. So it's one thing to debate about the laws, it's another thing to send a ship out there to make sure they're not rescued. It's grotesque.
Well, and the way that they're also characterizing this as them preventing an invasion of endangering their continent.
Right.
What do you think colonialism was? Like also the interim between World War I and World War II, where European countries came to who largely where the refugees are coming from and colonize those countries, right?
Yeah.
So I think they also don't have an understanding of the history that produced the refugee situation. And so there is very little responsibility taken by Europe and their politicians. Again, like if there was something explained through schooling, through education system, through political officials, then maybe they could understand why there are refugees and refugees are being created at record numbers right now. And also because of climate change and the kinds of emissions that Western nations are producing through carbon dioxide, right? So all this sort of stuff is this really interesting sort of stance where right-wing folks feel like they're the ones who are being targeted, invaded, they're the ones in danger. While you can go to the Greek islands, which I've been to, and fascists will come into like flimsy refugee camps with flimsy tents and set them on fire.
Oh my God.
Unprovoked. There are squats in Athens that were organized for refugees. They have come down there too and set them on fire. For what sort of reason, right? And so I think that's where the dastardliness of all this comes into play.
Right.
Yeah, and if you want to understand extreme right-wingers, the most important thing you have to understand is the concept of projection. So whatever it is in their head, they project it onto the other side.
Right.
So that goes to your point, May, which is the northern countries did an invasion of a lot of the southern hemisphere, and then when the southern hemisphere has some people that are leaving because of situations that are bad, they go, "Oh my God, invasion, invasion!" So they will turn around. So in America, again, look, I'm not relitigating slavery. I'm just giving you an example of projection. Right. So extreme right wingers will say, "Well, blacks are lazy and prone to violence." Wait, who enslaved who?
And who worked for free?
Yeah. No, and who was so lazy that they didn't want to do their farming so badly that they would enslave other human beings so they could sit in their fat ass at home, make other people do their work. Wait, who's lazy, right? And then say, oh, they're violent. You kidnapped them, a lot of times killed them, lynched them, hung them, raped them, etc. And guys, I'm not talking about you today, okay? If you're seeing a random white dude in the middle of Nebraska, you didn't do it, right? But I'm talking about extreme right wingers. They know that happened, but they nonetheless, in a great act of projection or a horrific act of projection, go, blacks are the violent ones, blacks are the savages, blacks are the ones who are lazy. So it happens again and again and again. And this is the latest example of that kind of projection, where they say these poor people who are suffering under these circumstances are the ones who are dangerous and invading us. Watch the Young Turks commercial free, download it or stream it, watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.